Have you ever wondered how a happy-looking life on social media can mask a storm of secrets? What if a smiling face in reels is hiding something dark, something deadly? This is the story of a rising influencer, a missing husband, and a mystery that begins in a quiet town but unfolds into a nightmare no one could have seen coming. Raveena Rao was gaining popularity fast. She was an emerging star on Instagram, known for her dance reels and acting in short Haryanvi films on YouTube. People admired her, followed her, and wanted to be like her. But what they saw online was only half the truth. Behind the ring light and filters, Raveena's life was anything but picture perfect. She lived with her husband, Praveen Yadav, and their young son Mukul, in a 2-story house named Yadav Bhawan in Bhiwani, Haryana. Praveen, 35, was a hard-working driver, often away transporting construction materials. Raveena, 32, shared their first-floor home with him and their 7-year-old son, while the rest of the extended family stayed on the ground floor and nearby houses. Everyone in the family seemed to get along well. On the surface, it was a close-knit, peaceful life. But everything changed on March 26, 2025. That day, Raveena had returned home briefly for some schoolwork related to her son. It was a regular visit. She had planned to leave again for her video shoot later that day. Praveen hadn't been seen that morning. When asked, Raveena said she didn't know where he was. He must have left early for work. It wasn't unusual. Praveen often left at odd hours due to his driving job. But something wasn't right. Raveena mentioned that she had last seen him at around 3 a.m. He was sitting outside on the stairs, smoking a bidi. She scolded him, told him to come inside and sleep. He nodded, and she went back to bed. That was the last time anyone saw Praveen alive. 2 days passed. On March 28th, Raveena returned home again. This time, she was greeted by chaos. Family members were worried. Praveen still hadn't come back. He wasn't answering calls. He hadn't checked in with anyone. Panic spread quickly. His disappearance wasn't just odd anymore, it was alarming. That same day, on Dinod Road, still within the jurisdiction of the Sadar police station, a passerby noticed a foul smell coming from a nearby drain. At first, he ignored it, thinking it was just usual sewage. But the odor was overwhelming. Worse, a few stray dogs were circling the area, barking as if they'd found something strange. Curious and uneasy, he looked into the drain. What he saw chilled him to the bone. Through the weeds and floating trash, he thought he saw a human hand. He called others over. Everyone peered into the murky water, and what they discovered forced them to call the police immediately. When the police arrived, they confirmed the worst. A decomposing body was lying in the drain, partially hidden under branches and leaves. It was impossible to tell who it was just by looking. The body had been submerged for days. But there was one clue, a tattoo on the hand. A name, possibly the key to identifying the corpse. The body was taken to the hospital for an autopsy. There were no external injuries. The decomposition made it difficult to determine the cause of death. For now, the police listed it as death under suspicious circumstances. They sent photos and information to local news outlets and nearby police stations, hoping someone might recognize the body. The next morning, March 29th, the news reached Praveen's family. The tattoo, the clothes, the timeline, everything pointed to one horrifying possibility, that the body in the drain might be Praveen. Heart pounding, his father and younger brother rushed to the hospital. When they saw the tattoo and the clothing, their worst fears were confirmed. It was Praveen. But the questions were only beginning. If he died on the night of March 26th or 27th, why didn't anyone file a missing person report before March 28th? Why didn't Ravenna seem more alarmed? She had seen him last. Hadn't she noticed anything strange? The police noted these gaps too after the cremation. The family tried to move on, but Praveen's younger brother and cousin couldn't shake off the feeling that something was terribly wrong. Praveen wasn't the type to get drunk and stumble into a drain. He was a drinker, yes, but not reckless. And the drain was 6 kilometers away from home. Would he really walk all that way in the middle of the night? They decided to dig deeper. The neighborhood had CCTV cameras. Together, the brothers and cousins began collecting and scanning footage from March the 25th to March 26th. They found Praveen returning home at 8:30 p.m. All normal. But in the hours after 3 a.m., when he supposedly left the house, there was no sign of him exiting the building. So how did he end up dead, miles away? That's when they spotted something strange. A bike, seen loitering near the house at midnight. The rider wore a helmet. He circled the area several times, 11 p.m., 11:30 p.m., and again at 12:55 a.m. The third time, the bike had 2 passengers, a woman sitting behind, her face covered, and something, or someone, wrapped in a sheet between them. It was unsettling. But who were these people? The family took the footage to the police. And what happened next would begin to unravel the truth about Ravenna's perfect online life. Who was the mysterious biker? Who was the covered woman? And could Praveen have been the third person on that bike, dead or alive? What if the person who smiles with you in every photo is the one who's planning your end? What if the love you thought was real was just a mask hiding something sinister? As police dug deeper into Praveen's mysterious death, they began uncovering a twisted truth, one that would shake the foundations of an entire family. After reviewing the strange CCTV footage and receiving pressure from the family, the police finally took serious notice. Something was clearly off. That mysterious bike, the midnight movements, the hidden passenger. It couldn't be ignored. When they zoomed in on the footage and enhanced the images, they noticed something chilling. The rider of the bike looked familiar. Members of Praveen's family whispered a name: Suresh. He wasn't a stranger. In fact, he was someone who had visited the house a few times, someone known for working with Ravenna on short YouTube dramas. And the woman on the back of the bike? She had covered her face, but her body language, the way she sat, her build, it all pointed to Ravenna. Had Ravenna been with this man the night her husband disappeared? To confirm their suspicions, the police traced the bike's movements using CCTV footage from nearby streets. The bike was seen going towards the Dino drain around 12:55 a.m., the exact area where Praveen's body was later found. 1 hour later, around 1:55 a.m., the same bike returned, but this time, only 2 people were on it. Whatever or whoever was in the middle seat was now gone. Adding to the suspicion, the bike's number plate had been covered with wet mud. It was deliberate. Someone wanted to hide their identity. This was no accident. This was murder. The police pulled Ravenna's phone records and tower location for the night of March 25th. Her call history revealed constant communication with a particular number. Even during the late hours, she had been texting and talking. When the number was traced, it led directly to Suresh Raghav, 29 years old, married, and father of 2. He was from Hansi in Hisar district and had worked with Ravenna in those YouTube skits. The phone data showed that Ravina and Suresh were both in the same location that night, at the Yadav home and later near the drain. It was damning evidence. When the police confronted Ravina with the footage and call records, she broke down. The game was over. She confessed. Yes, she said. She and Suresh had killed her husband, Praveen. But the story she told next was even more shocking than anyone could imagine. Ravina and Praveen had an arranged marriage in 2017. It wasn't a forced match. They liked each other instantly and were married with full family blessings. Praveen was a modest man, educated till 12th grade, working hard as a driver. Ravina was a 10th grade pass, who later completed a tailoring course after marriage and even started a sewing center to teach young girls. Everything seemed normal until the pandemic hit. During the lockdown, like many others, Ravina discovered Instagram. What began as harmless entertainment quickly became an obsession. She started making reels, dance videos, lip-syncing, slow-motion transitions. At first, Praveen didn't mind. She was home, bored, and it kept her busy. Even when people mocked her or made inappropriate comments, he stayed silent. But things changed when Ravina's videos started gaining traction. She began getting followers. Then local YouTubers noticed her and invited her to act in their short films. She said yes. She started going out more, long shoots, late returns. Sometimes she wouldn't come home for days. Praveen, who had always been supportive, began to worry. He asked her to stay home, maybe just make videos from the house. But Ravina didn't listen. She was enjoying the attention, the admiration, the offers, and she didn't want to stop. This led to constant fights. By late 2023, their relationship was strained. Ravina agreed, at least temporarily, to stop going out. But things had already taken a dangerous turn. It was during one of those YouTube shoots that she met Suresh. He was charming, smooth-talking, and unlike Praveen, he praised her endlessly. He told her she was beautiful, talented, and deserved to be a star. He told her she was wasting her life with a jealous husband who didn't understand her dreams. She was drawn to him, emotionally, and eventually, physically. Their affair deepened. And when Praveen tried to stop her from seeing Suresh or acting in videos, she didn't just resist, she snapped. According to her confession, the final trigger came on March 23rd, when the couple had another explosive argument. That night, Ravina made up her mind. Praveen had to go. She called Suresh. They devised a plan. On March 25th, when the house was nearly empty, her father-in-law away for work, brother-in-law out of town, and sister-in-law downstairs, she invited Suresh over. But fate had a twist. Praveen came home early. He walked in on Ravina and Suresh in a compromising situation. He exploded in rage. A fight broke out. According to Ravina, she panicked. She grabbed a dupatta and wrapped it around Praveen's neck. Suresh helped pin him down. They choked him to death. Then, they wrapped the body in a sheet. Now, they had to get rid of it. At midnight, they carried the lifeless body downstairs and loaded it onto Suresh's bike. Ravina sat behind, helping balance the body in the middle. They drove through the dark streets of Bhuwani to the Dinod drain. There, they dumped the body, covered it with branches, and drove back home. At 5:15 a.m., Suresh dropped her off. By morning, Ravina was playing the role of a grieving, confused wife. But it didn't end there. The police retrieved the murder weapon, the dupatta used to strangle Praveen, and also seized the bike, which was registered to Suresh. Every piece of the puzzle was falling into place. Still, one question remained. Why? Why would a woman with a child, a husband who supported her, and a decent life choose to destroy it all for social media fame and a toxic relationship? Ravina had no clear answer. "I just wanted to live freely," she said, "without restrictions, without being told what to do. But at what cost? In her chase for attention and freedom, she lost her family, her future, and her soul. And yet, there's one final twist left. What if Suresh wasn't telling the full truth either? How far would someone go to live a double life? And what if the person you risked everything for, your marriage, your child, your future, was never honest with you from the start? Just when police thought they had unraveled the mystery behind Praveen's murder, a deeper, more shocking truth began to surface. And this time, it wasn't about Ravina, it was about Suresh. After Ravina's confession, police moved fast to arrest Suresh Raghav. On April 11, 2025, officers from Bhiwani reached Hansi, Hisar, his hometown. When they knocked on his family's door, what they found was not a house in chaos, but one in total disbelief. Suresh's family had no idea. His wife broke down the moment she heard the news. Her husband had been arrested for murder. He had been living a double life, secretly involved with another woman, and now accused of killing that woman's husband. His elderly parents stood in stunned silence, while neighbors gathered outside, shocked at the scandal unfolding in their street. What no one knew, what even Ravina likely didn't fully realize, was just how deep Suresh's deception ran. He had painted himself as a struggling artist, a misunderstood dreamer chasing fame on YouTube. But in reality, Suresh was a man running from responsibility. Married at just 19, he had 2 children, a son and a daughter, and a home full of people who relied on him. Yet, for the past 2 years, he had all but abandoned them. He barely sent money home. He would disappear for months, claiming he was shooting videos or working with his team. But no one had ever seen his work. He kept his real life hidden, even on social media, where he had written "single life" in his Instagram bio, pretending his wife and kids didn't exist. Ravina, too, had "single mother" written in her profile, despite living with her husband and child at the time. This was a romance built on lies, and yet Ravina believed him, believed in him, trusted him enough to take the life of her own husband. But Suresh? He never had the same intentions. As police dug deeper, they found troubling patterns. Suresh had been known to flirt with other actresses in their circle. He made promises, complimented them, offered roles in new videos. Many suspected he used these tactics to manipulate women emotionally, and sometimes physically. For him, YouTube wasn't just a platform, it was his hunting ground. Even more disturbing, investigators found messages in his phone indicating he had no plans to settle with Ravina. In private chats with friends, he referred to her as a temporary thing, and joked about how crazy she was becoming. Behind her back, he mocked the very woman who had committed murder for him. Did Ravina know any of this? Perhaps not. To her, Suresh was the man who saw her, praised her, encouraged her dreams when no one else did. He made her feel special, desired, powerful. And that illusion was strong enough to blind her to the truth. But now, sitting in jail, the illusion had shattered. Police charged both Ravina and Suresh under Section 302 of the IPC for murder, along with Section 201 for destruction of evidence. They also added charges for criminal conspiracy. The dupatta used in the crime, the footage, the phone records, it was an airtight case. But what about Mukul, the 7-year-old boy caught in the middle of this tragedy? He had lost his father, and now his mother too. He became the silent victim in a crime fueled by selfishness and obsession. At such a tender age, he witnessed the funeral of his father and the arrest of his mother. The same mother who, despite everything, cried bitterly after the murder. Did she regret it? Did she realize what she had done? Or was she only mourning her ruined dream? Ravina's father took Mukul to live with him in Rewari. The once lively boy who had featured in his mother's Instagram videos now sat quietly in the corners, not understanding what had happened, but knowing, deep down, that something had gone terribly wrong. Back in Bhiwani, the community continued to reel from the shock. A neighborhood once filled with admiration for Ravina's rise to fame now spoke only in whispers and judgment. And people online, who had once liked and shared her reels, now commented with anger and betrayal. But even now, with the case almost closed, one final question remained. Who planned the murder? Ravina insisted it was mutual, that Suresh encouraged her, motivated her, gave her the idea. But Suresh claimed it was Ravina's plan all along, that she seduced him into helping her, and he only did what she asked out of fear or foolishness. So who was the mastermind? That question may never be fully answered. Legally, both are equally responsible. But morally, the lines are blurred. Was Ravina a woman manipulated into crime by a cunning man? Or was she a cold-blooded killer using love as an excuse? And what about Suresh? Was he simply careless, or a dangerous manipulator hiding behind charm and cameras? The public may never know the full story. As the court prepares for trial, both families wait. Ravina's parents, devastated by what their daughter has become. Suresh's wife, betrayed by the man she trusted. And young Mukul, the child who lost both parents to a decision he never had a say in. The influencer life Ravina chased, the fame, the fans, the likes, has now faded into darkness. And Suresh, the man she gave up everything for, turned out to be her greatest betrayal. Their story is over. But what about your thoughts? Was it love, manipulation, or pure ambition that led to murder? Who do you think is more guilty, Ravina or Suresh? Let us know in the comments.